Yeah, it don't make sense, man. But Big Daddy Kane, right? I had him on the platform, and he was telling me a story about how the Fugees they dissed Pac, and he was there when the Outlaws told Tupac that they was dissing him. You recall that?
I don't think I was there, but I do remember, and I'm trying to think about what was it that made Pop, think that the Fugees was dissing him because I was in the studio when he was doing songs dissing the Fugees, and so something got back to him where it was like, um, I forget what it was. Because one thing about Pac, he was paying attention to these East Coast rappers because you got to remember Pac is originally from the East Coast, raised there, then moved to the West Coast. So one thing about rappers back then, especially East New York rappers, they were very subliminal. And Pop used to know how to catch on to these subliminal messages. And I guess something seemed like they was dissing him in one of these Fuji songs. And that's why he started attacking him and stuff like that. But, now, meeting Praz, we met Praz years ago. A lot of people don't know, like the first time that I ever was in a recording studio was with Wyclef. He might not even remember. The first time I was ever, because he from East Orange. The first time that I ever did a demo, my first song, I did a song for the Apollo. Remember, you probably remember the Apollo. Like people used to go to the Apollo and rap, and then you go different state years in Harlem. So I was probably like 13, 14 years old. He did the beat for me. He did the intro, he did the hook. I got booed though. I still got booed because when they boo you, the Sandman come out, but I was like 13, 14 years old, but it was a good experience for me. So I did meet Wyclef back in the day. You know what I mean? He probably didn't know that later on I became an outlaw. This probably would be his first time hearing something like that. We met Praz because Johnny J was doing a record on Praz, and we actually did a song with him later, and he broke down the love that he had. So the Fugees really had love for Pac, which like a lot of people. But when Pac first came home from prison, he was just like on a war. He thought everybody was dissing him, and people do have to realize Pac was young. He was pretty much paranoid. He didn't know who to trust. And he would just like anybody say something slick and it sound like they dissing me, I'm dissing them. So I don't think the Fugees ever dissed him. I think they always respected Pac and had love for him. That's why they never came back when he went, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they ever replied or said anything disrespectful towards him, even though he dissed them in songs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what Big Daddy Kane said, man. He said that he was there when Pac found out.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but I know Big Daddy Kane was like, man, I'm getting out of here. These jokers, because he the OG. But I was like, these be some troublemakers, bro. I don't think the Fugees ever did him, but like I said, I remember that phase that Pac was going through when he first came home from prison, and because you remember Pac tried to bow out, and he said it in the interview. He said, when I first got shot, then I went in time. That's a lot. Some people might say that's a coward way out. No. When you 22, 23 years old, going through this all by yourself, a woman lied and saying you raped her. That's why I don't get involved in when you hear people say these things, because I seen what Pac went through and it was false. And then you get shot and then you go to prison. You only 20-something years old, bro. That's a kid. I got a 25-year-old kid myself. So when Pac did that interview, he was just like, you know what? I'm going to bow out. But he said one of the things that really messed him up is that when he tried to wave the white flag for peace, it felt like people would start attacking him even more. And that's why when he came home, he went on his rampage and he just was doing records dissing everybody, bro. If he felt like anything was coming at him subliminal, he was just doing it and started dissing them.
Was you in LA when Big Daddy Kane was down there?
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah, I do remember him in the studio, and I remember being in the studio one time when him and Pot did like a song. They was going back and forth, like the old school stuff like that. Yeah, because I grew up, of course, who back then didn't grow up looking up to people like Big Daddy Kane. So I was surprised, like, wow, I remember in elementary school watching you on TV, like, and you here with us, like, you the OG, like, you know what I mean? So I do remember him being around.